Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 88th part of What If Deku Was Sanji's Reincarnation, my Heroes Reborn. The author of this great fanfic is Ivily. Links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 88, Big 3 in 1A. Hibiki was going to have a busy day. Despite school being out that day, the fight was a big deal, and him only having 9 students, it was still a busy day. One those things that made it busy might be pleasant though, and not the massive spar that he would have to watch. No, this was a special meeting with Momo, a meeting that he cleared with Nizu. After all, it dealt with Momo's quirk and a material that didn't exist on this version of Earth. So what did you want to talk about? Asked Momo. Honestly, we both know that All Might's fight is going to change things, said Hibiki. Momo nodded. I've considered asking you this before, but I never really thought it would be a good idea to do this, said Hibiki, until after the fight. You want me to create a substance from your world, said Momo. Yeah, said Hibiki. Please tell me you know the molecular composition, said Momo. Hibiki took out a hologram disc and showed off the atomic composition of the material he wanted. Momo's eyes widened. I've never seen a metal like this, said Momo. It's called vibranium. It was hard to come by, but I worked with it many times, said Hibiki. I see, said Momo. I plan to pay you both food and money if you decide to do this, said Hibiki. You don't have to pay me money, said Momo. I am not taking any chances with your parents' lawyers, said Hibiki. Momo honestly couldn't respond to that. After all, her parents were people. It would make sense that he wasn't taking any chances. Of course I will have to discuss with them in the future, said Hibiki, though I would still like a sample. Momo nodded and produced a rather large cube. I do have to run some tests to see if you have gotten it right, but if you have, you will of course have free reign over what you can create with it along with what I ask of you, said Hibiki. That should help with my parents, said Momo. Of course had to pay her back with lipids, so Hibiki placed 20 umebo on the table. Momo's sweat dropped at this. Sorry, I didn't have time, this was just an easy thing to grab, he said while blushing. You're overseeing a spar between Katsuki and Mirio today, aren't you? Asked Momo. I am. He sighed. I can't blame you for this, said Momo, eating one of the umebo. She knew what it was like to spar with Katsuki after all. Next time I'll get you better food for sure, said Hibiki. Momo nodded as she ate a second. They discussed a little more details of the plan. It really depended on it was made correctly, but if it was, then there was a new material that the two of them could work with the future that would definitely help them in the long run. Sometime later, Hibiki managed to get Izuku to help him oversee the spar, as he hadn't gotten a chance to tell him about a certain something since everything went down. It's going to be a stressful next few days, so it was probably a good idea multitask. On the training ground, Mirio and Katsuki looked at each other. You don't have your devil fruit, said Katsuki. But I have my quirk, it's not going to be easy to hit me, said Mirio with a grin. Let's just see, said Katsuki. The spar had begun and Katsuki aimed his sword at the older blonde. However, suddenly Mirio completely vanished, leaving his clothes behind. What the fuck? Muttered Katsuki. He activated observation haki. And he found him. What the fuck? He muttered. That was when Mirio reappeared, uppercutting him. Wow, you actually let me hit you, what did you get distracted? Asked Mirio. Katsuki quickly recovered from the punch. Of course I fucking did. You're fucking naked, he yelled. Oh yeah, laughed Mirio, who was indeed naked. Katsuki's eye twitched. From where Hibiki and Izuku were watching them, they both sweat dropped. He's naked, said Hibiki, face palming. He is, sighed Izuku. Welp, didn't need to see that, said Aiko. Aiko, please put up the specs of his hero costume, said Hibiki. Why? Asked Aiko. I want to make him some underwear, said Hibiki. He started to rub an oncoming headache. I can't believe I just said that and it made sense, he muttered. There, said Aiko. You're not helping, muttered Hibiki. Back on the training ground, Katsuki got over the nakedness rather quickly. It's better not known how many times he saw Luffy naked in their past lives. Instead, focusing on the fight. Most of the fight was done in silence, but of course they would eventually have to talk, but neither one was ready to say anything. Though this did happen during the fight. The first time he unleashed the explosive power of his swords, Mirio activated his quirk to dodge. However, his eyes did start to sparkle because of it. Wait, you use your swords for explosions? He asked. Damn right I did, said Katsuki with a smirk. As the fighting counted, Hibiki knew he had to Izuku. Hey Izuku. There's something we need to talk about, said Hibiki. What? Asked Izuku. After you got kidnapped, All Might told me exactly why he took you under his wing, said Hibiki. He told you about it? Asked Izuku, knowing he was wording it that way just in case someone was listening. Nizu probably was, but he also knew about the quirk, but it's better safe than sorry. Izuku was a bit surprised, but considering everything. I'm not surprised he told you, considering you helping him in the fight, said Izuku. I was already thinking of ways to tell you. But I guess I don't have to tell you now. Yeah, he did tell me that, said Hibiki. I know too, said Aiko. I kind of figured, laughed Izuku. Wait, / Aiko can keep it a secret. If something is designated a secret for me, I am literally incapable of even mentioning about it in front of someone who doesn't already know, said Aiko. Izuku's sweat dropped. Do you honestly really see so little of me that you don't think of me that way? Sighed Aiko. Izuku just sweat dropped. You'll pay for that, Izuku, you'll pay for that, said Aiko. Izuku sweated. He wasn't sure what she was going to do, but he knew wasn't going to pleasant. Back on the battlefield, Mirio finally figured out what to say. Why did you do that? Asked Mirio. Because I'm a fucking idiot. For years I thought he was fucking looking down on me. I thought he thought I was beneath him even when he thought he was quirkless, yelled Katsuki. He wasn't going to tell him about One for All. That was Izuku's job to tell him. I was fucking moron that I didn't see the real him, just some twisted version that existed in my mind, so I pushed him down and that rumor that I told him to kill himself, said Katsuki, trying not to cry. I said it to him, and I don't even remember it. That was when Mirio gave him a hockey-covered punch which sent him flying. Stop feeling sorry for yourself, yelled Mirio. Katsuki got up. Yeah, you screwed up, but he didn't listen to you, yelled Mirio. He's still alive and you guys have patched things up. All of that stuff was in the past. Katsuki looked at Mirio. Look, you two are clearly best friends. Right, yelled Mirio. He forgave you, you need to forgive yourself. Katsuki just rolled his eyes. But Mirio just punched him again after seeing that eye roll. Oh, what the fuck is that? Yelled Katsuki. Why did you roll your eyes? Yelled Mirio. What are you, my mom? Yelled Katsuki. Did you just admit that your mom hits you? Asked Mirio. Katsuki just sent out another explosion from his swords. After more clashes from the two of them, wrecking a good chunk of the training ground. I think that's enough, said Hibiki. Izuku nodded and jumped into the training ground. He combined both One for All and hockey and kicked the ground. The sheer force knocked both of them away from the fight. Wait. You were able to do that? Asked Mirio, surprised at everything. Yeah, laughed Izuku. Hibiki flew in and quickly removed his headphones once he landed. Mirio, for the love god, put some damn pants on, said Aiko. By the way, I'm going to try make you some underwear so that you can at least hide your shame during spars, said Hibiki. I never thought of that before, said Mirio. Hibiki face-palmed at that. Look, here's already so many memes from that sports festival already, said Aiko. I don't need to see anymore. They found his clothes and he put it on. He sighed. Hibiki, do you know about the suicide thing? Asked Mirio once he was fully dressed. Oh, what the hell? Yelled Katsuki. I do know about it, sighed Hibiki. You should have asked Katsuki if I knew first, because it's not something that should be spread around. Mirio sighed. Don't go spreading it around, yelled Katsuki. I know, sighed Mirio, glad it wasn't a screw-up after all. So who knows? Recovery girl, said Hibiki. And Rockhead, said Katsuki. Wait. Kota knows, why? Asked Izuku. He just heard the rumor from some people saying shit about me, muttered Katsuki. He wasn't going to tell them the truth about the incident, about how someone's suicide baited him in return. Not because it was their business or to protect them, well, partially to protect them. He knew that the two of them would beat the ones who told them that. And they really didn't need that on their record. What happened was between him and Kota. It feels like you're hiding something from me, said Izuku, sweat drop. Katsuki just flipped him off. Izuku sighed. Go hang out, said Hibiki. I got to run some tests on a special metal. What does that mean? Asked Mirio. That's not a euphemism. I had Momo create a medal from my old world and I need to test if she did perfectly, said Hibiki. Wait, Izuku, before you go, said Aiko. Izuku's phone rang and he saw it was a brand new cinnamon roll meme about him. Why? Yelled Izuku. Because you had to pay for your transgressions, cackled Aiko. Izuku sighed at that. Should we be worried? Asked Mirio with a sweat drop. No, something tells me it's dumb, muttered Katsuki. They all left the training ground. As they were leaving, Izuku realized something he should confess to Katsuki about the suicide incident. Hey Kaken, there's something I have to tell you about when you told me that, said Izuku. What? Asked Katsuki. Izuku took a breath to help steady himself. You being a jerk isn't the only reason why you don't remember you telling me, sighed Izuku. What the fuck does that mean? Asked Katsuki. When you said that to me, it was the day of the sludge villain incident, said Izuku. Katsuki's eyes widened. He just thought it was just some random day. But it was one of the most important days his life. And knowing the day it happened jump-started his memory. He remembered that it was indeed a normal day of bullying Izuku, trying to get him to quit being a hero because of his ideas before everything went down. However, remembering it made him feel worse. Not just because now he remembered it, but because something more. The fact that Izuku saved his life that day. He told him something that was absolutely disgusting. And what does Izuku do the very day he told him that? Save his life. Kaken? Asked Izuku. Hey, you okay? Asked Izuku. I'm fine, he muttered. Izuku sighed. He didn't mean to, but he was sure. I think you just made things worse, said Mirio. Izuku face-palmed. No, he fucking didn't, yelled Katsuki. I'm fine. Meanwhile at the dorms, Achiko was pumping herself up. I'm going to tell him today, said Achiko. She slapped her face to hype herself up. That was when she started to float because of it. Oh no, not again, she said. Outside her dorm, Momo was about to knock on her door with Nijire and Toru when they heard a crash. "Achiko, are you okay?" asked Toru. "I'm fine," said Achiko, looking a bit disheveled as she opened the door. "Oh, what happened?" asked Nijire. "Just a quirk accident," said Achiko. "What happened?" asked Momo. "Just some stuff," laughed Achiko. "You touched yourself without meaning to," said Momo. "I did," sighed Achiko. "It's okay," said Toru. "Hey, Tamaki is downstairs," said Nijire. "I know you guys are friends, so yeah." "Yeah," said Achiko. They headed downstairs where Tamaki, Mashireo and Ida were also hanging out. "Hey guys," called out Toru. Tamaki just nodded. "You're really not good at meeting new people, are you?" asked Achiko. "No," said Tamaki, "I'm sure then you were." "Yeah," laughed Achiko. "By the way," said Tamaki. "What?" asked Achiko. Tamaki motioned over to Kyoka. He didn't say it out loud, but Achiko knew what he was referring to. To be honestly, it was something she was kind of avoid. The fact that Kyoka had a similar hairstyle to her past life, well, when she was younger. "I haven't told her," said Achiko. "What are the chances?" asked Tamaki. "Pretty good considering everything," said Toru. Tamaki jumped at this. "Oh, sorry about that," said Toru. "So do you know when they're getting back?" asked Mashireo. "I don't know," said Toru. I did get the message that the spar ended," said Momo, but in a more roundabout way. "Oh, that conversation from earlier," said Achiko. "They had heard that Hibiki wanted to talk to her about something. He wanted me to make a medal for him," said Momo, "a medal that doesn't exist on this world." "Oh, that's so cool," said Toru. "Wait, does that mean you can create lacrima?" said Nijire. "No, currently I can't," said Momo. "In order for me to create something I have to know everything about it, including its atomic composition, and I have no idea what lacrima was even made of." "Oh, that's too bad," said Nijire. "Plus we don't know if ether nano even exists in this world, so even if I could create it, I don't know if I can even use it," said Momo. "Oh, good point," said Nijire, "almost forgot about it." "Are you talking about magic?" asked Toru. "A lot was known about magic," said Momo. "There actually was science behind it." "Really?" asked Mashireo. "What, was magic just it's magic, you don't have to explain it?" "In your old world?" asked Momo. "Pretty much," sighed Mashireo. Twilight knows a lot about the science of magic, but no one else really paid attention to it," said Toru. "Are they really talking the science of magic?" asked Achiko with a sweat drop. "They are," said Tamaki. "It's really interesting," said Ida. "Were you introduced to Ida?" asked Achiko. "I was," said Tamaki. Achiko nodded. That was when the door opened. It was Katsuki, followed by Izuku and Mirio. "So you're fucking here," muttered Katsuki. "We planned out everything this morning," said Izuku with a sweat drop. "Your spar didn't go well?" asked Momo. "It went fine," muttered Katsuki. "Something happened afterwards," said Izuku, "but it was nothing and it's fine, really." "Izuku, that isn't reassuring," said Momo. "Hey Bakugo, you okay?" asked Kirishima, joining them. Izuku sighed at that. Whatever, it's not important," muttered Katsuki. That was when Mirio noticed Ida and Kirishima as well. Oh hey! You are two friends, right? Asked Mirio. Yes, I am Tenya Ida. Said Ida. Awesome! Said Mirio, putting together the pieces. Is he the only friend you hang out with? No, sometimes we hang out with Todoroki, but he's not feeling well right now. Said Izuku. Really, why? Asked Mirio. Personal shit. Muttered Katsuki. Both Izuku and Katsuki could tell that Todoroki was in something of a depression after All Might's fight. And either one could really blame him. His father, trained to surpass All Might in rather horrific ways, drove his mother insane. And now his father was the unofficial number one, making everything all for nothing. So they decided to give him space for a week before sicking Toru on him if he wasn't feeling better. They did tell Toru about their idea and she agreed, but she didn't indicate if she knew what he was going through or not. She could tell what he saw going through was big and it was better to give him time before trying to cheer him up right away. She knew from her past life their points someone needed time before cheering them up right away. That was when Shiro and Kaminari noticed Mirio. Hey? Asked Kaminari, aren't you the pants guy from that sports festival? There was an awkward silence. Wait, pants guy? Asked Ochako. Izuku sighed, remembering the incident as well. Yeah, during one of my sports festivals I ended up naked on live television. Laughed Mirio. Everyone's sweat dropped. You're a UA student. Said Ida. It's a quirk side effect. Said Tamaki. The idiot ended up naked during our spar. Muttered Katsuki. It's my quirk. Explained Mirio. He began to explain his quirk permutation, which allowed him to become intangible. But he also explained the high costs of it. Namely, he can't see, hear, or breathe whenever he uses his powers. But he did figure out ways to use it properly. Of course, Izuku was taking notes about this. I know you should the one trying to figure this out. Said Izuku. Hey! I already have ideas on how to use hockey with my quirk. Said Mirio. All right. Said Izuku. Figures you got a shitty power in this life too. Said Katsuki with a laugh. Mirio just laughed. What does that mean? Asked Tamaki. Oh, it's fine. I had a pretty lame power in my past life. Laughed Mirio. Yeah, but he was able to make it work. Said Izuku. Yeah. Laughed Mirio. Really, what was your power? Asked Kirishima. I was rubber. Said Mirio. Really? Asked Kirishima. None of them questioned due to quirks. And the fact that they know how the old world made no sense. They talked about a few things, including Momo getting a text from Hibiki saying his tests worked, though he still had to work out a deal with her parents to be used as a factory after all. But she was definitely going to use vibranium for her own stuff in the future. Also, throughout the afternoon, Nijire had to ask their classmates a bunch of questions. Like when she first saw Shoji, she had to ask about his mask. With Tokoyami, she asked him a questions if he had like a human or a bird, and she got really distracted by Mina's horns. As well as everything about Tsuyu that she de-iced to ask her a lot of questions about her frog quirk. Was she like this in her past life? Asked Toru. No. Said Momo. This is all this life. Said Tamaki. Katsuki also introduced Kota to Mirio, but due to Kota's shyness, all he gave them was shy wave and nod. He's a close friend? Asked Mirio. It's complicated. Said Katsuki. Mirio had a bad feeling about what happened after his bullying was discovered and realized that probably most everyone abandoned him. Of course, soon enough it was time for dinner, and thankfully, as long as the fact they were back in their dorms until curfew, then it was okay for them to eat at any dorm. Which was something Mirio and Tamaki often did on nights before they regained their past lives memories due fact they were in separate classrooms. Izuku was cooking dinner for the whole dorms, much to Nijire's surprise due his skill. Is he really that good of a cook? Asked Nijire. He is. Laughed Mirio. Achiko was blushing like crazy. She should be used to seeing his skill, but it only made her blush. So you like him? Asked Tamaki. Achiko jumped at this. I don't know what you are, said Achiko. Tamaki gave her a deadpan look. Achiko sighed. Her crush in her past life was kind of infamous among her fellow ninjas in the same age group. Please tell me you're not going to sit on it for years, said Tamaki clearly in Shikamaru. Don't worry, I'm planning to tell him once I'm able to get the chance to, said Achiko. Tamaki still gave her a deadpan look. As Izuku was cooking dinner, Katsuki did but in and whisper. Please tell me you're not giving to give him Luffy-sized portions, said Katsuki. I'm making a bigger dinner than usual, but we all know that leftovers will go quickly, said Izuku. Katsuki nodded. It was clear both of them knew that Mirio had to learn a lesson instead of just him doing that. It was better that way. But of course, sometime later. Mirio laid on the floor, barely conscious. I knew you were going to eat too much, sighed Izuku in Sanji mode. I did, said Mirio weakly. I couldn't help it. Remember, you have a normal stomach now, said Izuku. Mirio burped. I know, said Mirio. Most of the class looked at Izuku. He had a rubber body in his past life, said Izuku. Everyone quickly figured out it meant that his stomach could also stretch like crazy. They decided to leave him on the floor for a while he recovered. Hey Deku, can we talk in private? Asked Achiko. Okay, said Izuku confused. They both went to the porch of the dorm. So what did you want to talk about? Asked Izuku. When you were taken, I realized that I never had the chance to tell you how I really feel, said Achiko. Izuku's eyes widened. I like you, said Achiko. I really like you, in the way, romantically. Izuku blushed at this. And then realized. Why did you put so much emphasis? He asked. Please don't ask, sighed Achiko, blushing. Izuku nodded, knowing it sounded like something embarrassing. But it's true. I do like you that way, sighed Achiko, blushing. Izuku was blushing and he has had a crush on her for a while. I like you that way too, said Izuku, actually long before I remembered my past life. Achiko was blushing even more. Really? Asked Achiko. Yeah, it had to be since the exam day, said Izuku. Achiko giggled. So, said Achiko, you want to try dating? Asked Izuku. Achiko nodded. It's going to be hard, said Izuku. I know, said Achiko. Izuku smiled at her and Achiko smiled back. They weren't at the kissing level yet, but they still held hands. Both of them sweat dropped. Do you mind? Yelled Izuku in Sanji mode. Achiko sweat dropped. She knew why he yelled that out. They noticed that the other reincarnations, minus Mirio who was still recovering, plus Ida, Mina and Aoyama were listening in. We couldn't help it, cried Mina. I tried to pull them away but they wouldn't listen, said Ida. Both Izuku and Achiko sighed at that. Then Izuku realized something. There's something else I think we should talk about, with some of you, said Izuku. Seriously? Pouted Mina. This isn't about the relationship, muttered Katsuki. And so they left Mina and Aoyama and got Todoroki and Kirishima joined the conversation and also picked up Mirio and dragged him to Izuku's room, as it was the room on the lowest level. When they got to the room, Mirio stared at all of the decoration from Izuku's bed. I'm getting Barty flashbacks, said Mirio. Izuku sighed. So what did you want to talk about? Asked Ida. We want to see if you all can learn hockey, said Izuku. Most of them were surprised, though Momo and Todoroki weren't, as Katsuki did imply during the Nomu invasion. "You guys want to include us?" asked Kirishima. "We do," said Izuku. "Thank you," said Ida. "I'm going to pass though," said Toru. "Really, why?" asked Achiko. "Because of the fact that armament will give me away," said Toru, "and I already have pinky sense, so that would be a wash." "Pinky sense?" asked Tamaki. "Oh, I can predict the future with twitch from my body," said Toru. "They know that her elbows seem to shudder." "You might want to stay away from doors," said Toru. That was when they heard a yell from the hallway as they heard Mineta scream in pain, "My face!" He yelled. "Never mind, it was for Mineta, he the one that got hit by the door," said Toru. But everyone just sweat dropped at it. "Hey, you up for teaching them?" asked Katsuki. "Not right now," said Mirio. "Of course not right now," said Katsuki with a sweat drop. "But one day soon," said Mirio. "Wait, what is hockey?" asked Nijire. "Yeah, we're kind of lost," said Tamaki. The others' sweat dropped. They did explain it. Sometime later, Katsuki and Izuku dragged Mirio back to his dorm had he hadn't recovered from eating too much. "Don't eat that much again," sighed Izuku as left. "I know," said Mirio. The two walked along back to the dorm. "So you and Round Face?" asked Katsuki. "Yeah," said Izuku. "Are you sure it will work?" asked Katsuki. "We both have our baggage, and she had a husband in her past life too, and kids," said Izuku. Katsuki's eyes widened at the fact she had kids. "And besides, Pudding would want me to move on," said Izuku. "Don't fucking lie," muttered Katsuki. "The worst thing we do to Round Face is kill her, and the best would be blanking her mind. Actually, the best thing she would do is just erase all of her memories of me," said Izuku. Pudding ate a devil fruit that could remove or alter memories. Katsuki just looked at him. "But you're right about that, but I still liked her since before I got my memories," said Izuku. "Whatever," muttered Katsuki. A lot had happened that day, a lot for sure, though Katsuki now had worse guilt. Plans were made for the future, plans that would change their friends' lives, along Izuku and Achiko admitting their feelings. And little did they know that a lot was going to happen soon. After all, now that they got their license, something different was open for them. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 89. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.